This video demonstrates what a transmission manual valve is, a rooster comb, and the shifter cable and transmission range switch adjustments. Okay, that's the TRS stands for, transmission range switch. It also has other names. We'll share those. Okay, this is the rooster comb, and this is the manual valve, and here is the cable that you are manually moving with the gear selector. Let's watch them in motion. Watch how the cable moves the rooster comb, which ultimately moves the manual valve. Right now we're in park. In a moment, there he goes. Now he's in reverse. See how this loaded roller, detent is what the real name is. It's a detent, following the rooster comb or the peaks and valleys. Okay, so that's now drive. This will be second. That'll be low. Again, this is the rooster comb and the manual valve and how it moves based upon what we do with the cable. This manual valve opens and closes hydraulic passages as we move it to the various positions of the transmission's manual valve assembly. Okay, he's got a cutaway valve body here, and the valve up here is the manual valve. This gives a better idea as to what this really looks like. It slides in, it opens and closes fluid from different passages. Again, the manual valve, and you already know what makes it work. Now today, this manual valve has been eliminated. Many of our transmissions, 8 speeds, 10 speeds, don't even have this because there's a solenoid that simply directs fluid, how it flows through the valve body to the clutches. We don't have to have a manual valve. In addition, with these solenoids, our newer valve bodies just simply have more solenoids, and it eliminates the need for this. It's all done electronically. Okay, if you are ever to disassemble a valve body, this little tray, and we have these types of trays, ours are black, his happens to be white. These trays, you can organize and lay things out in order. You do not want to get the valves and the springs mixed up with each other, or things will not work. The springs might look similar, but they could very easily be of a different spring tension or calibration. And you might never know why the transmission's acting up weird. There's no diagnostics for assembling something incorrectly. Okay. So again, that's a little tip on valve body disassembly and reassembly. Let's now talk about the two adjustments that need to be sometimes addressed, especially if a cable is ever replaced or a transmission range switch is ever replaced. And a transmission range switch can also be known as the multi-lever position switch, or here's an old term, the park reverse neutral drive low or pendle adjustment. Okay, these are all similar names for the same component. We'll go on from here. Okay, this is a little Hyundai, and he's taking the battery out, and he's going to make sure that the transmission is in park. He's just making certain it's in park. Then we come back out. This is a front-wheel drive, obviously, little Hyundai product. And back to underneath where the adjustment is. So you make sure it's in park. If you need to loosen that nut, you'll do so and just let it fall naturally in place, okay? Once that nut's loose, just make sure things are just relaxing and in their natural place. See those little wear marks, little signs or evidence when the nut's been? It's usually a good indicator where it goes. But anyhow, parking, or I should say transmission shift cable adjustment, this style. I'll show you another style next. Okay, here's one from a General Motors pickup. A little more complex complicated as far as how it's made, but it's pretty simple. This pops off the shift lever, okay? And what he's going to do now, he's going to open things up because the adjustment, he's kind of holding it and talking about it, sorry. But you might get a screwdriver and pry a little lock piece or a sleeve. See how I slid that little sleeve up there? Next, he's going to pop this white section out. That's got to be popped out because that's where the adjustment was held. Those little teeth have a purpose with our adjustment, obviously. So now, with the cable fully, disconnect or disengaged, he's going to show on the vehicle how this procedure works, the adjustment for this vehicle. Okay, once the cable is in place, here's the transmission pan. Once the cable is in place, he's going to slide the sleeve. Got to pull a little pin first. He's going to make sure that little white piece backed out. And now they're going to run it. They're going to move the shift lever from park, reverse, neutral to drive to second to low a number of times. Look at all that slack. Okay. What he's trying to do is make sure there's the cable can travel its full distance, but running it through all the positions this way ensures that at least we got the cable installed in the brackets, appropriately. And once you run it through about 10 cycles of running it from park clear down to low and from low back to park, he will go ahead and secure the clip. Making sure it's just kind of in a relaxed position. He clipped the little white piece toward, so it pokes out, and put the little retainer clip in. Now this cable is adjusted properly. This way, you don't have the problem of can't start the engine in park. You have to kind of hold it partway between, say, park and reverse or something of that nature. This is to help get the cable, again, correctly adjusted. Okay, now we've talked about the cable adjustment, but this is the transmission range switch, or the multi-lever position switch. Multi-lever, of course, meaning park, reverse, neutral, drive, low. Okay, and in this little demonstration, he shows here's of course, the switch, or I should say the lever that the cable connects to. Well, here is the electrical part. Determines can we start the engine in park and neutral as we're supposed to. Also, reverse backup light circuitry is part of this. And he puts the lever in neutral, which is very common for most of these types of switches. And then down here, he's going to align the little marks, okay, that groove and that mark in the black on the black collar compared to the little white collar. Then he's going to tighten those screws in place. Now, electrically, the transmission range switch or multi-lever position switch is in the correct position. You could now go and do the cable. Maybe I should have showed cable first, but that's how it's done.